So living wealthy is about the combination of building your worth and your wealth at the same time. Because for myself, and I know that money can only provide so much happiness. But when you build, and this is what living wealthy means to me, is when you build your internal personal security to give you that personal freedom and the external financial security to give you that financial freedom. When you have that combination of both, that's when you're able to live life at this level of fulfillment that we all deserve to live in. And that's what living wealthy is. It's the combination of internal and external wealth.
Welcome my guest, Dawn Dahlby. Dawn is a certified financial planner, wealth, wellness expert, and author of the book, Live WELLthy. Own your worth and grow your wealth. She is the country's first behavioral financial advisor, a certification that focuses on both the emotional and practical aspects of managing money. Dawn also serves as a founder and president of Relevé Financial Group, a multi-million-dollar advisory firm. As a fiduciary of over 20 years of experience providing financial advice, Dawn has not only led her clients from moderate incomes to affluence, but also she has helped them to become truly wealthy. Her approach helps people learn to save tomorrow without having to sacrifice living today by merging the most effective teachings of self-help with finance to create a unique focus on spending freedom. Welcome to another episode on Passion, Love, Pursuit podcast. I am so happy to welcome on the show Dawn Dahlby. Is that pronounced right?
Perfect. You got it, Erica.
Perfect. I am so happy to get into the subject we're going to talk about today. As before pressing record, we're talking about the subject of money. And I've only had it about a handful of times on the podcast, but I know it's a topic that all of us need, all of us want and desire. And how do we actually build our wealth? But what we're going to go in today is not just about building wealth, but actually, if you want to say the underbelly of building wealth, which is actually owning our worth and having the mindset so that we could cultivate a richer life. But that's more of fulfillment, of living in alignment with our values and our beliefs about money. So we'll go deep into the subject. So welcome to the show, Dawn. I'm so happy to have you.
Erica, I'm so excited to be here with you today too.
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about, well, first of all, of course, I want people to know your background. So how did you even get into financial planning? I know you've been doing it for 20 plus years, but what was your interest in money?
It was just money. Like I just wanted to make money and have money because I grew up in this little town in Wisconsin where it was so limiting. Like life was limiting. It was either we can't afford to do this or we go and do this and then we shouldn't have done it because we really can't afford to do it. And it was just this constant messaging of not enough and everything being so limited that I was like, damn it, I just need to figure out how I can make money and live more of my life. And I think that's what we all want, is to have a bigger life and to live life according to what we value and how we choose to live. And in order to, figure that out, you need to learn about money. So that's what I did. Is like, I believe so many of us just turn our pain in life into our passion of how we make money and how we learn to grow and live a fulfilled life. So that's what I did like 20 some years ago. It's like, I need to figure this out. So what better yet is to become a financial advisor so I could help myself and help others as well.
That's amazing. I know not many people go as that far as like, I really want to learn this. So I'm going to get into the career of helping others as well build their wealth. So I'm curious, did you grow up in a very, if you want to say, a home that was not in the healthiest mindset over money, or did you have struggles with this not enoughness? Because I know that's a common mindset.
With all of us, right? And especially in the timing that I grew up in the 70s and 80s, and in being in a small town in the Midwest, it was really about, um, like I said earlier, it's just never enough. My mother suffered with, like, she grew up in an alcoholic home, and she was an alcoholic herself, and it was all of this, I want to be this queen, I want to spend money, and I want to give. She wanted to give so much to my sister and I, and she did. Like, she used to take us, we were supposed to be at church on Wednesday nights, but she would have us skip sometimes, and we would go to Dayton's, which was the old Macy's. And she would take her bonus checks and say, you have $75, you can go spend on whatever you want, but don't tell your dad. Like, you know what I mean? And so it was just this whole, like, just this weird vibe of money where it was secretive and never enough, and they didn't really teach us about money. And I have a big personality with a lot of energy, and I was just so freaking frustrated. And I'm like, why can other people do X, Y, and Z and I can't? And then I moved from the Midwest, from Wisconsin, to a big city in Minneapolis. And I was like, well, wait, wait. These people, like, I'm seeing big house after big house, and I'm seeing this whole different lifestyle. And I was like, well, if they can do it, I can figure out a way to do it. And it was just like, it was just the mindset around the scarcity of, like, we can't have more than what we have. And it just frustrated the heck out of me.
Yeah, and as you share in the book, which your new book is called Live Wealthy, spelled WELL,
Yeah.
wealthy, which is about owning your worth and growing your wealth. And so I want to know, can you define what living wealthy, spelled WELL, means to you? Because
Yes.
as you talk about this, we'll go into the mindset around money, but I'm curious, what's this meaning to you, and why did you refine it as this spelling?
Yeah, that's a great question. Because living wealthy is about the combination of building your worth and your wealth at the same time. Because for myself, and I know that money can only provide so much happiness. But when you build, and this is what living wealthy means to me, is when you build your internal personal security to give you that personal freedom, and the external financial security to give you that financial freedom. When you have that combination of both, that's when you're able to live life at this level of fulfillment that we all deserve to live in. And that's what living wealthy is. It's the combination of internal and external wealth.
Beautiful. I love it. I love how you change the word spelling, because that's what makes it honestly really attractive. Because what is that saying? I'm trying to remember, and I don't want to butcher it up, but it's, you will only become as successful as your how you become. I'm trying to think. This is like one of the best quotes. You only become as successful as your like personal development, like how you
Mhm.
develop yourself. And
How
again,
you
I'm
think.
not,
It's all about how
yeah,
you think.
yes,
100% how you think. Yes.
yeah. So, and you stay in the book, everything begins with mindset. So let's talk about like the clients you've been working with for over 20 years. I'm curious, like the common mindset you're seeing come forward in your clients, and what do you feel
Mhm.
is the most limiting mindset most of us have around money?
Yeah, that the most common thing that comes up is fear. Everyone fears of running out of money in their life and not having enough. In fact, I have some of my OG clients from on a Tuesday back in 2001 when I picked them up as a client. I brought them on as a client, and they're still my clients today. And I've been able to watch them go from a level of just having debt to having these multi-million dollar investment portfolios because they were consistent in financial planning, and they followed a simple plan. And what I've learned is through working with these clients and really diving into the technical aspects of, I mean, we have these robust financial planning tools that can predict with a 99% probability that clients aren't going to run out of money. Like, they look at inflation, they look at rates of returns, they look at like the market cycles and the different sequencing of performance. And we can, like, it's called a Monte Carlo simulation.
Hmm.
And you can, like a 99% probability you're not going to run out of money. And you would expect clients at this, after 2 decades to be like, we have arrived. Like, thank you. And, they put in the work. I put in the work. I meet with these clients regularly, 2 to 4 times a year. And we think they'd be able to just finally go, oh, I've arrived. And what happened was so different
Hmm.
is they were like, I don't believe that I have enough yet. I might, I might see the number on my screen, but I still don't believe that. And I want a little bit more, which I get. We all want a little bit more. It's because we're human beings. We constantly evolve and grow. And so I'm not downplaying the little bit more. You, Erica, want a little bit more, and so do I. We're human beings.
Right.
But not at the expense of fear making that decision for us. And it was frustrating that I saw people in this fear base, like they still feared like having enough because they didn't believe the system. And I'm like, unless the whole world goes to hell, which we can't control, then money doesn't matter. Like none of us have money. You're never going to run out of money. And I have had to bring in this, not just the technical advice and this simulation of, technically we can run all this and I can show you, but I had to bring in this behavioral advice piece and the psychology around what's going on in your mind. And it
Absolutely.
all comes down to the fear. Like we all have this what if X or what if Y happens. And it's like life is full of uncertainty, but we can't live our life where fear dictates our decisions. And I get super passionate about that because I want my whole goal of people living wealthy is living a fulfilled life. We have a short run here. We have a short run, whether we're here for 50 years, 100 years, or whatever. We have a short run and we have to be able to live every day. And I think that's what we all need. But we have to understand we all have a relationship with money that needs to be examined. And we also have to build our wealth from a technical perspective as well. And that's what I see, so that's why I give this type of both the yin and the yang. It's the psychology and the technical advice.
Yeah, and you're the first in the country of teaching behavioral financial planning, which is remarkable. And actually, I'm curious, is that something that a lot of financial planners are now as well learning so they could implement both?
Yes, it's going to that model because people that serve their clients well, people that are what's called fiduciary
Right.
wealth advisors, like somebody who has to look out for your best interest and not just selling you the next best product. Um, we realize that when we're in client meetings and you start just talking technical advice, like we get the fake, not the fake yawns, but like clients are yawning. Like you could see them like they're trying not to yawn in front of you. They're like, I don't care about the elephant. Like, I don't
Yeah.
care about any of that. Am I going to have enough money? And people that are really serving their clients in the highest level possible realize that we need to have this we need to up level our conversations that we're having with clients.
Absolutely, because that's what's coming up a lot these days,
Mm-hmm.
especially is like, what's your money mindset? And those are really the things that are limiting us to the next level. Like
Yeah.
everybody, as you mentioned, generally speaking, when people get successful, when they reach this point, they always want more. I actually
Mm-hmm.
just asked one of my friends about this. Her husband just acquired a multi-million dollar company. He's always been the VP, but now he acquired it because his father passed on. And I asked her, I'm like, why doesn't he sell the company, or why is he still working? She's like, he wants more money. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
he's pretty wealthy. And so
Mm-hmm.
that's the thing, is people tend to, when they reach this point, it's like they always want more. And so I'm curious, why is it just, as you mentioned, like you said, it's like this fear of what if, even
Mm-hmm.
though, you know?
Right. Yep. I think it's a combination. I think it is the what if. I think it's because as human beings, especially us in business that are competitive and want to, we have the growth mindset. I think it's healthy. It's okay to want more.
True.
But like I said earlier, you have to examine because the underlying why. Because I feel like most of us fall in one of two camps. We either want more out of fear of not having enough in our life, or we want more out of a fear of not being enough in our lives. And
Yeah.
it's all driven from that same fear, but we just react based on our personalities a little differently. So we have to examine it and just understand that we are in control of wanting more, and that it's not fear in control of wanting more. And that's the biggest piece, is who is in the driver's seat. Is it you, or is it your fear? And we all need to be in the driver's seat and not be driven by fear.
Absolutely. I think that's such a good point to mention, that sometimes is this for our status? So that we're seen as enough, like having
Mhm.
this per se status. So, what would be some questions to uncover really our beliefs behind it and the reason why we're driven in a, if you want to say, unhealthy way? Because I think some of these aspects are somewhat unhealthy. It's not bad to want more and build your wealth, but if it's driven from a very egotistical lack of worth, then it's not healthy, because ultimately you'll never have enough.
Yeah, I see it all the time. I see it all the time with men too. Like, where they're not the number one question you need to ask yourself and figure out is, what happened in your childhood for you to feel like you're not enough?
Mm,
Because something happened. I see it all the time. It's where, especially guys, like they feel like they need to be these macho big guys without emotions, and they were served up the wrong impression of how they were raised and how they had to become the strong boys. And then what happens is, deep down, they're not able to be a human being. They're not able to feel free and express themselves, and to feel unworthy and weak and all that kind of stuff. And so they carry that with them. And so a lot of these bigger companies that we're seeing run by men who are hurt in their childhood, and why they're driven for more and more and more, is because they're not dealing with that pain that we all experience pain in life, but they're not dealing with that childhood pain of, whoa, if I would just like deal with that and become quote unquote weak to become stronger, then they
right.
make better decisions. And again, I'm not downplaying money, because money's awesome. I love that we should have more money in more people's hands, because when we think right, when we're abundant with our thinking and we're abundant with our wealth, then we can really serve this world in so many better ways. This world is broken right now and it needs to be fixed. And the only way we fix that is dealing with and walking through the pain, walking through the fear, walking through the uncomfortableness of life, and getting on the other side. And when we get on the other side, it's like, ooh, we have this thing that happens in our brain, then it unfolds to our money, and we're able to serve ourselves better, we're able to serve other people better. And that's what people need to do. It's this mindset of dealing with your shit, like dealing with the stuff that's happened, because it happens to all of us. I mean,
Absolutely.
I had an alcoholic mom. She died right in front of me. We all have our stuff, but if we don't deal with it, we can't get to that magical other side. And I think it's so many times it's not acceptable for men to do that, let alone us women. To go through that and understand that we all deserve more, and it's okay to have
Absolutely.
more. Mhm.
Absolutely. And so I know one of the other, besides addressing, as you said, what is driving your need for money or how you're managing your money or whatnot. And some people on the other side is very careless with money,
Mhm.
overspending, creating lots of debt. Like there's that camp as well. And so I know
Yes.
one of the things you talk about is developing a wealth alignment process. And that starts with values. And I love that you talk about the values, because that really creates the alignment, really, in anything in
Mhm.
our life, truthfully. So
Yeah.
I know you have a process you work through in the book of how to discover that, and also get not only just like surface level value, or it's not surface level, but getting your values, but you go deeper in your
Mhm.
exercises, I noticed. And that's what I really loved. I was starting to go through the process in the book as well. But can you kind of describe the wealth alignment process and why this is so key to
Mhm.
part of that equation?
Yes. And by the way, you're an awesome question
Oh, you're
asker,
sweet.
interviewer. Like
Thank
you're
you.
so great. Yes. Um, I would say, in the typical financial services industry, we have goals, financial goals, and we build our wealth around that. And what I've realized is that we all have almost the same financial goals. But what we don't have in our industry is this wealth alignment process where we're aligning all that is you or us. We are aligning everything about ourselves. And so what I really like to do, I have people go through the process of truly understanding the six key elements of who they are, which are it's their purpose, their vision, their goals, their strengths, their core values, and their weaknesses. But those six elements, what I like to hone in on is the strengths. Like we should all be earning our income from our strengths, and we should be spending our money and our time on our core values. And when you really go, oh, why are people in debt? Why are people overspending? It's because they haven't done the core value exercise. They haven't like peeled back like the meaning behind their values. Like most of us go, okay, I value people, I value family, I value spirituality, I value health. Like we have a lot of the similar top line values, but you got to start peeling those back. Like, well, what does that really mean to you? Because health to me might mean something very different to you, Erica.
Absolutely.
Um, or spirituality might mean something very different. And so we start to peel back those the meaning behind those values. And then what we realize is that people have this awakening of like, holy cow, like I have been spending my money on things that I don't value to try to impress people that don't care.
Mhm.
And like then when you start to spend your money in alignment with really who you are, you stop all that BS comparison. Like we always compare. We don't stop comparing. We all compare. And I don't think that'll ever go away, but we have a healthy comparison. So when I'm in my neighborhood looking out my front door, and I see Joe driving his brand new Mercedes down the road. And if I'm like, wow, like maybe status is a important thing to me, but when I start to peel back that underlying value, it's like, I don't really care anymore because I'm spending my money on travel. And that's really what benefits me. And I start to have a healthier comparison versus the like, oh, I wish I could have that. Like, why do they have that? And like we get all caught up in that comparison trap. But that's what the core values really does. It gets you to a deeper level and it stops the negative comparison so you can live in your own lane and be happy and fulfilled with that.
So, talking about some of the values, for example, maybe playing your values, if you were to walk through some of your high values and how that incorporates into your spending, your saving, and your investing, if you could give kind
Yeah.
of an example.
Absolutely. Like my core values, we determine whether it's a spending or, whether it's costing me, if my value is costing me something, or if it's actually helping me earn an income. So my first core value is spirituality. So, is that really costing me anything? Not really. Like I could say it's costing me my tithe, but in my case, it doesn't because my husband works free in the church. So, we don't have to give extra to that. So spirituality doesn't cost me anything. Relationships is my next one. Like, is that costing me stuff? Yeah, because you know what? I love to entertain and I love to have a big house, not necessarily big, but my house is like a spa. It's a beautiful place to relax and have this beautiful vibe in there. And so I want to have relationships with people and family and my friends in a really cool environment. So yeah, so I assign a cost to that. Um health. Oh my gosh, organic eating, working out. It's a huge benefit. It's a huge benefit, but it's a huge cost. So I have to when my husband goes to Whole Foods and I'm like, "Holy paycheck." Like that was expensive, but then I have to go back to, okay, that's a value of both my husband and I. And so we have to like prioritize our spending. If we want to spend money on healthy food, then we just know that maybe we can't go out to dinner as much or we can't like we just have to make trade-offs, right? We can't buy, if I want a Porsche, I have to drive a 5-year-old car versus the brand new one because we're prioritizing our spending. So I peel back what health means. Like for me, I'm 52 years old. It also means
What?
Botox and fillers. Like, you know what I mean? Like it
First of all,
means
you
like,
look amazing.
well,
I
thank
mean,
you,
what?
because I spend money on health. Like I
You take care
exercise,
of your
but
health.
right, but I also have to, I have to spend money there because it's a priority to me. My other core values are excitement and achievement. Achievement helps me make money. Like I don't want to retire. I'm like your friend's husband who just bought we want to go. We want to go, but it's not fear that's dictating that. It's my core value of achievement that's dictating it. It's not my fear of, oh my God, I'm not going to have money when I'm 85 years old because I'm spending too much. No, it's like, no, I'm in charge of that. And then excitement actually cost me a lot of money too because I like to exciting things. So yes, it's that's where I have to assign what those values mean to me, and then I allow, like I'm in charge, but my clients then get to I advise them that after they've paid their taxes and after they have committed a certain percentage of their gross income to their future self, then we can spend 25% of our real net income after taxes and savings. That's real net income on the core values. And then I get to argue with my husband, like, okay, we have 25%, which is $4,000 a month or whatever the number is. I don't even know right now, but whatever the number is then it's like, okay, then we have to like give and take, like, how are we going to spend this money? And then we get to prioritize our spending and not feel guilty about it. Not feel guilty. That's the biggest thing
Okay.
is for us to be able to live for today and plan for tomorrow. We got to experience spending guilt-free today. But people get in debt. People make wrong decisions because they're trying to impress other people or they're not in alignment with their core values. I know that was a long answer, but I'm super passionate about it.
Yeah, I love it. No, it's great. Well, first of all, of course, people need to go through the exercise and that you walk this so perfectly in the book. I love the process because I like to call it peeling the onion. Like you get to the deep reasoning why you value this. And so you
Yeah.
deeply understand yourself through the process. And then also you're driven by that deep seated why. But going forward into financial planning. So first of all, do you think everybody needs a financial planner, or do you believe at a certain age we need to have one, even if, let's say, we haven't created, if you want to say, a wealthy bank account or whatnot? Like when does somebody need a financial planner? Because what you're saying right now, I just want to touch on, like a lot of people don't know like the buckets, like you said, like planning, like paying I'm personally self-employed, so I have to ensure that I'm making my estimated payments, and that's on me. It's different than like it being withdrawn from a paycheck. So as you said, and then another portion needs to go to saving for your future. So when does somebody need a financial planner? When would you recommend that? And is there a certain point that somebody should acquire one?
Right. So, after 23 years in the business, I realized that, wow, I'm sitting here serving millionaires become multimillionaires. And I was like, the people that really need a financial plan are the millionaires, but it's also the people that are in debt and they need to start. So it is, even if you have $0, I believe you need a financial plan. So then people come and say, okay, but I can't afford to have an advisor, or an advisor, even more importantly, they're not going to take me on. Because someone like me who's been in the business, I don't want to work with someone that doesn't have anything because I'm not going to make money off of those people, right? It's like I got my time equals money. And so what I did over the last 5 years is I've created this digital online platform that serves people that have anywhere from zero to $500,000 that don't need that online, or that don't need that personalized concierge type of service, but they are the ones that are getting tripped up and not making the best decisions for them. A financial plan equals better decisions. A financial plan doesn't equal you have to give up your life. But I believe it's about making good decisions when you're just starting out. Like you're just out of college and you're like, you need a financial plan. You need to understand how money works. You need to understand that when you actually put away a little bit of your income, It's actually not costing you that much as what you think it would cost you. You're either going to pay the taxes or you're going to pay yourself.
Yeah.
And, people don't understand that they're like, they don't have to give up their today. So I totally believe as soon as someone's either done with college, and by the way, I don't believe everyone should go to college. I'm not a huge, like, you got to go to college, but like when you're starting on your own, like you get your first paycheck, you need to figure it out. Like I have two teenage daughters, one almost 18 and one 19. I'm like, they just got jobs. I'm like, girls, in fact, my daughter was leaving the other day. Oh my gosh, it's somewhere right here on my desk. My desk's a little messy. She was leaving the other day and she grabbed some cash because she got paid some tips in cash. And I literally walked out of the house and I said, roll down your window. And I said, you just took $80. And she goes, yeah, it's mine, mommy. I said, I know it is. I said, but give me 20 back. And she goes, what? And I said, give me the $20 because you're actually giving that to your future self that it's going to turn into multi-thousands of dollars. So give me that 20 because you're never going to miss it. And she did. She like literally took it and it's on my desk somewhere because I got to deposit it, which that's the other problem. I haven't done that yet. But like literally that we got to teach these kids at a young age. Yes, you can afford to get fiduciary advice. Because I've created the platform to do that. And yes, you need to be saving money. So I believe that it needs to happen right away. Because if it doesn't, you're going to like, that's why 90% of our population screwed up financially because they're not served, they're not served appropriately in getting the right type of advice.
And this is where I think our schooling system needs to change because I think we need to be taught these basic things. Not saying what you teach is basic by any means.
No, but it can be. Yeah. Schools do not teach
simplistic things of how to build your credit, how to save, how to pay off debt. Like what's the formula, if you want to say. So your program is called Grow It. Am I correct?
Correct. It's called Grow It. We are just going to start offering discounts into it too, because I'm super passionate about getting people the right advice.
Amazing.
And what it is, Grow It is literally where you get to download the Wealth Factor, which is the financial planning tool. And I'm telling you, during COVID, I've spent a gazillion hours because I was bored. I was like, what am I going to do? I got to build something. I got to do something, right? So I built this tool that I wish I would have had earlier on in my financial planning days, that where it's an Excel file and it's beautiful and technical, but it takes people through this process of entering in their income, entering in their taxes, entering in their debt, entering in their, if they have protection, like life insurance, disability, entering in their spending, entering in their core values. Like they enter in all of their things. And then it gets to assess of, okay, this is their current, where you're at currently. And it's like, okay, then it starts to say, okay, based on where you're at currently, here are the 4 buckets. You can, 25% to core values, 35% to your debt. It breaks down the spending plan for them. And then it says, if you do this, and if you start doing this, and if you start minimizing your taxes, then if you put away this money, and here's how you do it to not like, so you can still live for today. Here's what you're going to have in a year. Here's what you're going to have in 5 years, 10 years, 15 and 30 years down the road. And you can like go, oh my gosh, like this is what I'm going to have. And then people go, okay, then how do I start it? Then I allow people, like I have them meet with a financial advisor on my team that actually will say, okay, here's how you implement your plan. Here's what you need to do. Let's go. I know. And I'm super passionate about it because I want to help the people that need the help.
Yeah. And like you said, some people at the starting point, if you want to say, that haven't created the millions of dollars, they possibly can't hire somebody, of course, as you. So this is phenomenal. Yeah. So of course, I'll plug everything in the show notes. If you want to offer a discount or you're having a discount, please let me know and I'll include that in the show notes. So let's talk about debt a little bit. So what is your formula or recommendation? Because I know you just said 1%, but what's your recommendation if somebody does have debt? What should they be implementing, at least thinking about right now before they buy your course?
Yes. Well, by the way, I just want to say that I actually love debt. I have mortgage debt. I love good debt. So debt associated with an appreciating asset, I think it's great. So I personally have debt. And, a lot of times they'll say automobile debt is bad debt because it is a depreciating asset. But I'm telling you, most people can't go pay cash for their cars.
Right.
So we have car expense. I lease because I can write that off just like Erica, you can as well.
Right.
So, we figure out how to maximize the debt. Like I don't believe in credit card debt, and I'm telling you it's horrible, but if you have it, I'm going to love on you because I you need to figure out a plan. We need to figure out a plan how to get rid of it. So it's people have credit card debt. It's not good, but don't feel shamed because you have it. We just need to fix it because I've been there too. I mean, 30 years ago, 25 years, I had credit card debt when I started as a financial advisor. So I get it, right? But here's what I suggest is that, again, I'm going to say there's two non-negotiables: paying your taxes and saving for your future. And when you actually save for your future and pay your future self first, you actually pay less in taxes if you do it the right way. So
Right.
what we try to do is we have people commit a certain percentage of their income, and then they pay their taxes. And then after that, that's the Dawn Dahlby's real net income number. And then I let people, or I advise people to have 35% of their discretionary budget, not even budget, their plan. I hate the word budget. I don't know why I just said that. I need more coffee today. But 35% of their after tax, after saving equals real net income to 35% to their debt. So mortgage debt, car debt, maybe credit card debt. It could also be like student loan debt. Some people even have medical debt. Like, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? So if you have more than that 35%, then we need to have a peel back the onion of another layer of how to get rid of that extra debt. Or if within the 35%, you're like, I don't want to have 35%, I want to have 15. Like everyone's so different, right? But we need to figure out a plan of how to have a maximum of 35% in debt. And then if you have more than that, like we need to figure out a plan. We need to figure out how to, and there's ways to minimize your debt. You guys, sometimes there's medical debt and it's not necessarily your fault.
Of
And
course.
we need to figure out how to, do you file bankruptcy? Then maybe that's the plan. Do we negotiate that debt? Like we just got to take action on getting, minimizing that debt. And that's the biggest thing. But I think like telling people I'm really different than Dave Ramsey, which says have no debt. Like
Right.
give up, like most people have to give up and live like a like live in a car or live in an apartment, whatever. Like I don't believe that. Like people it's not realistic for most of us to like give up our whole lives for 3 years to not have debt and to again, no debt is the best debt, but let's be realist, and most of us have it. So
Yes, sometimes you need to invest. For example, I'm sure you're this way, you invest in yourself. Like if something is going to grow you as an individual or also in your career, you're going to invest some money into that, but it's going to pay off in the long term of things. So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, as long as here's the other thing. There's so many people out there that are selling courses and selling, personal development and growth. And they're like, I've seen people be like, just put it on a credit card. And I'm just like, oh, like put it on a credit card if you're going to take action and you can actually have a plan to get out of that in the next 5 months. But you know what I mean? So we got to be cautious on our decisions. But I'm saying like mortgage debt, like it's okay. Like what's hard right now is interest rates are so high. So, I would totally advise people to hold off on getting a mortgage right now. Or if they do, knowing that they're going to have to refinance in a year or so when interest rates come back down. But it's really about a healthy level of debt. And people need to understand that most of us can't survive without it. You know, I, I have a multi-million-dollar house and I have $1 million mortgage because I paid 2.9 9% on that mortgage, it's a tax deduction for me. And it allows me to take up more of my money, and then I can apply it to, you know, to marketing and building my business
Right.
and all that other kind of stuff. So it's about making smart debt decisions.
Absolutely. Actually, if you know, since you're a financial planner, talking about real estate for a hot second, as you said, the interest rates are really high right now. What do you recommend to your clients as far as real estate goes? If they can hold off on buying, what would you say? How many years from now? What's your prediction for that?
Yeah, no one can really predict, but interest rates were so low for so many years. I mean, since what, 2009 and 10 now. Um, so I truly believe they're going to come down. I mean, inflation's going to get under control, and uh, here's the thing: is that we cannot allow external financial situations to really, again, who's in charge? Is it the interest rate or is it you?
Right.
And if you need to get into a house and you're going to pay, I don't even know what mortgage rates are right now. Are they 7% or like,
Sure.
crazy? I don't even know. But like, if you have to buy a house right now, that's okay. I bought a house when I was 25 and my interest rate was 8%. Like, it didn't stop me from buying my house. I bought my house. I
Yeah.
just had to figure out how to like make decisions around that. And I just think like interest rates aren't 15% like they were in the 80s. So if people need to go buy a house right now, go buy your house. Just know that we got to take advantage and stay on top of what's going on, like being in the know of what's going on externally, but don't let that control us, and making our decisions of what's right for us and our values of how we choose to live our life.
Exactly. I love how you drive that home. It's so
Yeah.
important. And I think, that's the thing, is giving people being more empowered with how they're spending their money, opposed to disempowered by, oh my gosh, things are so expensive. It's more, and that's why it's so great to find out like what's your plan going
Hmm.
forward, and what's that rooted in, what's your foundation driving that plan. So it's
Hmm.
beautiful. So if you were to talk about building wealth, just to touch on that some bit, what would be like the key things we need to know planning for wealth?
Yes, I would say, everyone needs a financial plan. And inside of that financial plan, it's really about, setting yourself up with some type of emergency money because shit's going to happen. It does to all of us. It happens to every single one of us every single day. So we need to have a portion. We always recommend 3 to 6 months of our living expenses, but then you tell people that they're like, what? Like,
Yeah.
okay, like even a couple grand, like in an emergency, in a savings account. I don't care if the savings account earns nothing. And if you actually have 3 to 6 months of your living expenses in an account, then that needs to be in a money market account right now because that thing is going to earn you 5% annually without really any risk. So, we need cash on the sidelines. So that's first and foremost. And I believe, building your financial plan, again, it's about fully committing a percent of your income, ideally 15% of your income to your future. But if you can't do that, 5%, you're not going to miss it. You guys, in 23 years, I've never have had someone come back to me and say, done. I need to stop my savings plan because I can't afford it. It's like
Right.
they set it and forget it. They just like, it's magical. It
Yeah,
literally is magical.
those automatic transfers where you don't even realize they're
You
happening.
don't even realize it.
It's
And then
brilliant.
what happens is like, oh, I'm saving 5%. Oh, but I just got a $5,000 tax refund because I didn't realize that. And I was saving in my SEP IRA or my I-401k or my retirement plan. Oh, I owe a third and less in taxes now. And I got this big tax refund. Then I'm like, okay, then we're going to take that tax refund and free up. So you have, free that up so you don't get a tax refund. I don't want people to get big tax refunds, and I want them to have that money available to them every single month, right? It's this big puzzle, right? So cash reserves, you save a portion of your income, you then invest in a diversified portfolio. I'm telling you, consistent performance wins every single time. It's not chasing what's the hot investment. Is it crypto? Is it real estate? It's all of it. You need all of it. And you need a diversified portfolio. You take the number 110 minus your age. And that's how much you should have in aggressive, risky investments.
Mm.
And then you diversify on top of that. Large companies, mid-sized companies, small companies, real estate, alternatives. Like you just have a diversified portfolio. You got to get your money invested in equities, which is the stock market. You got to get your money invested in fixed income, which is the bond market. You got to have alternatives like real estate. You have to have a combination of all of that. And then you also have to protect your financial plan. Like nobody ever wants to talk about insurance, right? Because like insurance is a dirty word. But I'm telling you, you need to protect. Like you have this beautiful plan, then you implement it, and then you got to wrap it up in certainty because life is full of uncertainty and you got to take you have to have life insurance. You don't need the cream of the crop expense. You just need term insurance. It doesn't cost you that much. Like it can be $14 a month. It depends on like how much coverage you need, but you need to have life insurance. You need some type of disability insurance. If you're older, you might need long-term care. Like we need to have the right type of, insurance on our financial plan so we can protect the people and the things that are most valuable. Again, values, the most valuable aspects of our life. We need to protect that because life is going to happen. Challenges, conflicts are going to happen. So we got to have the right type of protection. So really it's a combination of all of that to build that financial plan. And again, but from an investing perspective, it comes back to steady Eddie wins the race every single time.
Oh, so remarkable. So much
Yeah.
value just shared in everything you just shared. But I know that like there's so much more depth to all this. And like I said, the book is, here's the book, anybody on YouTube. So Live
Yay.
Wealthy.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
there's so much in this book that it just walks through a lot of the things you just touched on. But I am so excited to check out your course, Own It. I think this is something that everybody should grab. So I'll include that in the show notes. Where could people best find you? I know that I'm not sure if you're taking on more clients, but or just to work with people of your team.
Yes. So what we'll do is we will offer a discount to the online digital platform. It's priced at $9.97 if someone wants to get in for half price because you're part of Erica's tribe here. We will offer that. And then where they can find me, I'm literally right now I'm anywhere and everywhere. So the website, it's my name, Dawn Dahlby, DAWNDAHLBY.com. You can find me, Dawn Dahlby, on most social media platforms. I have a real goal to get on those live stages again
Great.
this year because I love, love, love. I have a really good keynote that I love to give. But you can find me anywhere. But I want to just tell people like the biggest thing that's getting in the way of just you and your financial success is the thing right in between your ears. And it's really about um, not letting fear make your decision for you and to take action. And we get caught up in this. How do I do this? How do I do this? You have a plan. It's simple. You have a plan and you work with somebody that can guide you through that plan. And now we've made it accessible for everybody. So there's really no excuse out there. The only excuse is if you're thinking limited, you're thinking with a scarcity mindset, or you decide not to take action. And I hope people don't do that because there's so much living that we all need to do. We need to have fun, people. We need to have fun and live our life. Like, let's go.
I love your energy so, so much. And it's so true that all successful people have a plan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Warren Buffett says, Warren Buffett, who's like the guru of investing, says that an idiot, now none of us are idiots, but he says an idiot with a plan can beat a genius without a plan.
Oh, love
And
that.
it's just having a plan and knowing where your money's going and knowing that the decisions you make around your money is the biggest thing. It's those small little, like you said, Erica, automate your money. Like it's just those small little tweaks that make significant changes in people's lives. It's so
Absolutely.
powerful.
So great. So great. So let me just ask you my final question because I know we got to get off soon. This has been such an honor just to hear more from you. I love your energy and it's so inspiring. Of course, hearing from a woman as well, talking about financial planning. I don't know if it's very scarce in this industry, but I think it's important for women to feel like at least I'm hearing from another woman that has knowledge in this area because I think it changes the dynamic a little bit. So
Mhm.
thank you for
Yeah.
all that. So
Yes.
final
Thank you.
question, if you were to share a piece of wisdom, a life lesson you've learned in your journey, and you just feel it's something everybody needs to hear right now, a closing thought, a life lesson, what is your piece
Mhm.
of wisdom and why?
I would say, I would go to kind of my own financial mistakes that I've made, and we gain wisdom from our mistakes, is really like I bought a too big of a house and had my money tied up in a mortgage that, and again, why did I buy the house? Is because I wanted to have the biggest house on the block and I wanted, again, status. I wanted to feel cool. I wanted to feel rich, not wealthy, but I wanted to feel rich. And I would advise people to really look at their biggest money move decisions, the houses, the cars, the things that are really expensive, and making sure that you're making super smart decisions because you can live in a beautiful house. You can drive a beautiful car. You don't have to like I'm saying you could have all that, but it might be in a place that might be a little bit smaller house or like a used car that's still really cool, and just those bigger money move decisions, like be cautious with that, because when you free up all of that wasted interest that you're giving the bank and you start applying it to your values, that's when life really changes for you and you're able to be more comfortable in your own skin. And when you are able to live in a happier version of yourself, then you're a happier version around other people, and that starts to ripple through the entire globe. So that's what I would say is those big money decisions, like be cautious with them and don't make the mistake that I did where you're overbuying a house or you're overbuying a car.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that. So
Thank you.
appreciate
Yes.
you, Dawn. This has been such an honor. Love connecting. And thank you for all you're doing and helping so many others build their wealthy life. Appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you.